Hi, so the purpose of this wiki tip video is to show you how to do two things, maybe three things: how to access your bibliography, how to add a citation, and how to start the outline, like what's the outline all about. So when you log into our wiki dashboard, you'll notice that you will see a section that says articles I'm updating. So click on the bibliography link, and whoever does this first in your group, that's whose name will be up here. But everybody in your group has access to the same one. It just gets affiliated with whoever does it first, okay? So I'm going to click this off. We know it doesn't have a user page. We haven't got there yet. This is a really important page, and we start here first because an article is only as good and as credible as the sources that it uses. So here in the bibliography section, it's going to tell you, what are we looking for? What makes a good source? How do we know it's credible? So you ask these questions. Is it from a reliable publication? Is it verifiable? Is the source independent of the subject? Keep in mind, we want to know about the subject. We don't want to know from the subject. So we want sources that talk about them, not sources from them, because anybody can write whatever they want to about themselves. That doesn't make it credible. So is the source independent of the subject? Is the source primary from the person or secondary from other accounts? Again, same sort of thing. If we're working on a topic and a couple of our people are related to medicine or psychology, make sure you follow the guidelines. And if we're creating a new article, which is what we're doing, you have to make sure you hit those notability guidelines. And we're going to assume that all of these people already have a basic level of notability, and that's why we're working on them. But we have to make sure that we convince the Wikipedia community that our person is notable enough to be included. And we talked about notability guidelines and practiced that a little bit in Zoom. So, how do you get the bibliography started? Well, I'm going to start up here. I'm going to click in bibliography. I'm going to jump down a box or two. It's giving me some examples. So you want the citation, and then you just want a little blurb about what this thing is. So where do I find the citation? Or where do I find that? Let me go to the guide slides. I'm working on this gentleman here. So keep in mind that all of these sources, whether they're on the slide or in the speaker notes, have to be included as a starting point. We can go find other stuff if we need to, but let's start by getting all of these into the bibliography. So I'm going to jump to this first one. Okay, and I'm going to copy the link because we're going to start with the citation, right? Whoops, let me go over here. So click the cite button, and usually, not always, if you have the link, you can type that in and it will hopefully pull up, yay, as much information as you need, and click on insert. So we've got our person here. And where did it insert that? Where is that? Down here in the reference section. Okay, so I'm going to copy it and paste it up here so that it's in the same place. Okay, so now what we need to do is figure out what this article's about. So this is an announcement, and I had to find out what college it was from by going all the way to the bottom. So it's Virginia Health Sciences at Old Dominion University. So Virginia Health Sciences at Old Dominion University. And it was an announcement that he was serving as Vice Dean of Research. So Virginia Health Sciences at Old Dominion University. Announcement about appointment as Vice Dean of Research. And you can do a little formatting if you want. You can make bulleted lists. Don't worry, don't stress too much over all the formatting. Just get the information there. And so for each of your sources, you'll do the same thing. You'll grab the link, you'll come over and hit the cite button, get the citation in, read it, get a blurb about what it's all about, and then put that in here. Okay, so what's the next step? The next step, and this reference list will build down here as you add them to the bibliography section. So now what's this next section? Outline of proposed changes. Well, how do we find out about that? Okay, so one good place to look is at other bibliographies. And if you remember from last week in the timeline, I'm going to scroll down and I'll just jump to week 2. We had a whole section on evaluate Wikipedia with a list of some finished biographies. So I'm going to open, let's just pick Mary Jackson. How about Angelica Gonzalez and maybe Elaine Ochoa? Okay, so now we have some categories. So you can see all the categories Mary has. Angelica's got it set up almost the same, but a little bit different. Ellen's got similar things, but a few other things. What you need is in your head the categories. So let's start. Let's go back to our, oh, it's way over here, sorry. Let's go down here and let's just add in early life, early life and education. What's another one? Career, personal life. If you can, some of these people are hard to find out information about their personal life, especially if they're still living. Recognition and awards. Does anybody else have anything else we ought to throw in there? We might have quotes. That one called it awards and honors. Like there's different things you can do, but there's kind of a similar, let's throw publications in there if they have any. So all you're doing right here is building a framework of categories, okay? Now what you need to do, I shouldn't have closed that article. Now what you need to do is go through the articles you put in and pull the facts out. So this says Dr. Brown comes to Old Dominion from George Mason University, where he was a professor of practice in the College of Science and director of the Center for Drug Discovery. So this would be a career thing, right? I'm going to bullet point that at George Mason University. And so you would just go through and keep adding facts, detail, detail, detail. And this actually came from our first source, right? So I'm going to align what source it came from so that we can go back and reference that later. So this is the last part for this week anyhow, is just start pulling fact, 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 fact out of these articles. Keep in mind they have to be verifiable. They need to be attributed to a good, reliable reference. How do you know if it's reliable? You come back up here and look at all of these items. If you have any question, then ask us. Ask the question. Show up into one of the office hours with our Wiki expert. Send me a message on your team channel. There's lots of ways to get more feedback on that. And then just start building. Everybody in your group needs to add at least 2 sources, but you can add more, okay? And you're not limited to the week 2 biographies. Feel free to go look at the biographies that we have in our wiki slides if you go up to the reference library. I will say that most of these are pretty short because most of these are beginner biographies, but you're welcome to look at any other biographies that you want to get some ideas for what to include in that outline. So you're going to cite your sources. You're going to write a little blurb about what they're about. Don't stress over the formatting. We can always fix that later. Your reference list will build as you add citations to the previous section. And then just come up with an outline and start plugging in the information. That will give us a body of details to use when we actually start to write the biographies. That's all there is to it. Let's get started.